What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to be getting into my quarterback rankings here. It's been a video that I've been wanting to make for a very long time, and now we got it. So now that we are in summer, there's not going to be a lot of content. I'm going to be trying to get out some college football predictions soon, but once we get into the fall, that's when a lot of stuff is going to be happening. Right now, summer, not so much, but so I wanted to throw this out here for you. There are 36 quarterbacks that I'm going to be ranking here. Just wanted to share with you all my rankings. So we obviously have different tiers here. And starting with the trash. Now, these aren't just straight up trash. There's a lot of worse quarterbacks, but it's just quarterbacks this tier I just don't think have a chance to develop. I just don't think you have a good chance at all, no matter what team you have, to win with these quarterbacks. So that's just what I think. They could be good backups, but really nothing I'm taking too seriously here. And that's going to be the last quarterback is Cam Newton here. If I can find him, there you are. So I think Cam Newton's done. I just don't think he's going to be good. I think he's done. His time's up. I just don't think he's going to be a good quarterback in the National Football League, as he's proven the past few years. Maybe a good running quarterback, but even then, I just don't. He's not a good decision maker. I still not like him as a quarterback. I mean, he had a good career, but it's just over, I think, for him. 35, I think, is going to be Joe Flacco. Don't get me wrong, Joe Flacco's a veteran that can come in, maybe do things. He has that experience, but I just think Joe Flacco's time's up as well. He had a good career. But, it's time for Joe Flacco to move on. He's a career backup at this point. And then 34, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, I was thinking about putting in the developed tier. Where is he? There he is. I just do not like Sam Darnold, though. I think he's had enough chances. I know he hasn't had the greatest pieces around him, but he has not shown very much. He's shown a little bit of flashes, but not enough I'm willing to bet on here. I think Sam Darnold's finished. I don't think he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL ever. I just think he's done. It's really turning out to be a bust at this point. And another one that's been pointed out to be a bust, Mitchell Trubisky. I think Mitchell Trubisky, very interesting. I was thinking I had him originally in the developed tier, but I threw him down here. I mean, I could see maybe a world, but not very, very unlikely that Mitchell Trubisky works out here and turns this all around. He was a very boom or bust project. Unfortunately, the bust happened. And I don't think he's going to boom randomly there in Pittsburgh. It's a good place to boom. I don't think it happens, though, especially with Kenny Pickett there. Kenny Pickett, I'm not too high on, but I think Kenny Pickett's going to be better than Mitchell Trubisky and be a starter. Kenny Pickett's not going to be in this rankings, by the way. I just don't know really. He hasn't played, so I'm just not going to rank him right now. But, so those are all the trash. I just do not see any of those quarterbacks being able to win and win any world. I do not see any of these guys going on and winning a Super Bowl no matter what they have with them. They just have too much flaws. All right, so in the developmental tier here, this is just basically quarterbacks that I think have a chance for the future, but right now you should not count on these guys. And that's going to start out with Tua. Tua, now they're betting on Tua, and I don't think it's going to work out. But maybe Tua randomly comes in. He has everything around him. Really hasn't had that his whole career. You never know. So, Tua, very interesting. Could have been a trash quarterback if he didn't have those pieces around him. But he's never had that chance, and this is his chance. This is his year. If it doesn't work out, he's done. He's finished, in my opinion. And then 31, I do think, is going to be Justin Fields here. Justin Fields, I really am nervous for. Really not a good spot there in Chicago. Their offense sucks. Their offensive line sucks. This team's going to be bad, I think, this year. And Justin Fields, I don't think is going to his flaws are just too high for him to be good. And I don't, a lot of these bust quarterbacks went into a system that was not good, and didn't have the pieces around them for him to succeed. And I think that's Justin Fields right now. I could very much see in a few years Justin Fields being a bust, but hopefully that doesn't happen to him. 30, I'm going to go Drew Lock. I do think Drew Lock still has a chance to succeed there in Seattle. He's got the weapons, and he's got that system where he played in for his first year, played pretty good football with that system. So Drew Lock, I'm giving him a shot, but this is probably his last chance this year to do anything, or Seattle's going to move on from him. That's really what Seattle's thinking right now. Why not give him a chance? He's got DK Metcalf. He's got Tyler Lockett. Why not give him a chance to prove what he can do? But, yeah, Drew Lock, he might even lose that battle to Geno Smith. But Geno Smith also is not going to be in these rankings. But we'll see what happens there. 29, I think, is Trey Lance, based just off nothing. Basically, I'm just blindly going in that Trey Lance is the 29th quarterback. We'll see what happens. I can't even find him. Where is he? There he is. Yeah, blindly basically going into Trey Lance. I don't know if he's going to succeed. Kind of feels like a boomer bust prospect out of college. Hopefully he succeeds. But we'll see what happens. Really just a blind guess there. I don't have a lot to say about Trey Lance there. And the 28 is going to be Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence did not have a good rookie year. We'll see what happens with him, though. Really, I do not like his season at the position where he's going to have to really show why he's a good quarterback, because Jacksonville right now is a mess, I think. They are not handling things well. I think their GM should be fired because things are just not looking good. But Trevor Lawrence, he definitely has the flashes. I definitely think he's just too good of a prospect to bust. How would Jacksonville even mess up this player? I mean, they're doing their best. I think they're doing their best to mess him up. But yeah, so those are the developmental quarterbacks there that I could definitely see, being solid quarterbacks in the future. Some even being superstar quarterbacks, not superstar, but pretty good quarterbacks, maybe even great. I don't really think maybe Trey Lance could be an elite quarterback. Or Trevor Lawrence, but I don't think any of these three are going to do that. But we'll see. And now the average tier. Now, average tier quarterbacks, you need a lot of things to go right for you to win a Super Bowl with these quarterbacks. But I could see a world that some of these quarterbacks, if you have everything perfect besides the quarterback and they just go out, do their job, and you win a Super Bowl somehow. So, I mean, I could see a world in that with some of these. But starting at number 27, I think it's Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is a quarterback that a lot of people, I think he's getting some hate on. But I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be actually, I just realized that Tua and Teddy Bridgewater is going to have a fight. I think Tua, if he can't win that to Teddy Bridgewater, he's done. There's no way he's working out in the National Football League. I do think Teddy Bridgewater is a better quarterback based on what we've seen. Bridgewater had a lot of flashes there in Denver. He, flashes. He had a lot of great games and a lot of bad games. So you would think he would be a more consistent guy, but for being a older quarterback, but he's not. So hopefully Teddy Bridgewater, can prove. I believe in him. I honestly believe him. I think he can be a quarterback that's solid. But yeah, that's Teddy Bridgewater. Number 26, I got Davis Mills. Where is he? I can't see. Okay, yeah, there you are, Davis Mills. Okay, Davis Mills obviously is a good. I mean, he played good not good, average at his time in Houston. And I could see a world where, Davis Mills just be a starter for a team and just blow up and just be not blow up, but the whole team blows up and he's just playing good. I don't think that he's going to be anything else by that. I don't think he's going to develop. But Davis Mills, very impressive. He's kind of, very similar to Mac Jones there. And then 25, I think Zach Wilson here above the developmental tier. I think Zach Wilson developed this season more than any of these other rookie quarterbacks down there. I guess, rookie from last year, but Zach Wilson very much developed. I think he got better and better, and I think he's gonna keep developing, and I think he could be what he's supposed to be and be a very good quarterback for the Jets. That's where I have Zach Wilson at 25. Number 24, I got Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is probably his last year. But I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be anything more than an average quarterback. He's got the athletic traits to, escape the pocket, run around, but just poor decision making. I think he'll just be an average quarterback for the rest of his career and a band-aid basically option for a team that needs one. So, that's really what I think Daniel Jones is going to be. 23, we got Jalen Hurts. There you are. Jalen, very much developed. He was in that trash tier. If I made a ranking, he'd be in that trash tier a few years earlier. But he has developed, and he is now an average quarterback. He can escape the pocket. I like with this Eagles team. This Eagles a great team. If Jalen Hurts doesn't succeed, this Eagles team is going to get a quarterback next year. This team could be very good for a while. But Jalen Hurts, I think this guy can be a decent quarterback. He's shown development. He could be a decent quarterback for the rest of his career, and I think that's good enough for him. He has really went from a very low-end guy to a average quarterback, which is good. 22, I think, is Mac Jones. A great year. I was very, very interested in putting him in the decent tier, but just I think he, there's some things here. He is a one-year pro, so there's still some things that he needs to clean up. Get some more experience under his belt. Hasn't won a playoff game, so Mac Jones, though, definitely I think is what the Patriots want from a quarterback. Just be a decent guy that can come in and play a game manager type and play good football. That's literally Mac Jones, but I don't think he's going to be anything past than a decent quarterback. Maybe get to a good quarterback tier like Derek Carr-ish, but nothing past that. There's no way he's going to be anything past that. But that's Mac Jones. Number 21 is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo, who actually isn't on this, but I wanted to throw him in there. He is definitely a decent quarterback. So we're in the decent tier, which quarterbacks that are above the average of just basically decent, above average for me. Basically a quarterback that's above average. I could see them winning a Super Bowl much more likely than these teams. You kind of need everything to go right. But if you have everything to go right, it's not a toss-up like all these guys. I think these guys could lose games for you. These guys could, just stay in it. Jimmy Garoppolo can lose games for you. Don't get me wrong. But that's just the description of this decent tier. But anyway, that's Jimmy Garoppolo, really. He is just, he has some major flaws. Like sailing balls and throwing interceptions right to middle linebackers. It's just, those are his flaws. But other than that, his game is pretty darn good. And then a top 20 quarterback, we got Jared Goff here. And I predicted that the Lions are going to surprise a lot of teams this year. And I think it's going to be because of Jared Goff. Jared Goff, I think, actually is going to have a good year. for the Lions. I might be higher on him than a lot of people. But honestly, Jared Goff, I think, is a quarterback that you can go in and build everything around him and maybe win a Super Bowl with him. He nearly did it with the Rams. And I think he could do it again. I think his flaws are there, that's for sure. But Jared Goff, I think he had a pretty decent year for the Lions. He kept them competitive and all that. So that's where Jared Goff is for me. 19 is going to be Baker Mayfield, who currently does not have a starting job. And I don't think he will this year. But Baker Mayfield, definitely the better, one of the, definitely a quarterback that a lot of teams could bring in, and he could be a top quarterback. I mean, he could be a quarterback that's better in the top 20 at least. So that's basically what I'm trying to say. But I get the locker room concerns with Baker. That's why, and the money. So, yeah, I just don't think Baker's going to be there. I think that Browns will either force to cut him or just keep him on the bench for the whole season. But, yeah, that's Baker. And then 18, I got Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz took a lot of blame last year for the Colts, and he deserves some. Not as much as he did, though. I think Carson Wentz is still a decent quarterback. He won a Super Bowl he didn't win it, but he was part of that good regular season with the Eagles. They had a great roster there. And Carson Wentz, he's not as good apparently as then, but Carson Wentz, I think, is a decent quarterback. And I think that's just, he's going to go around. He's going to be one of those guys that just goes around to a bunch of teams and just is a band-aid decent quarterback that, you know what, we have all these pieces. We can't get a quarterback. Let's just bring in Carson Wentz. That's basically what Washington said. Unfortunately, I don't think Washington has all the pieces to win a Super Bowl. So, yeah, number 18, we got Matt Ryan. So I do think the Colts are taking a slight upgrade with Matt Ryan. He's a much more veteran type player. He has brought his team to the Super Bowl. We all know the comeback, though, the blown lead, but still brought his team to the Super Bowl. And Matt Ryan is a decent quarterback. And I think he could help the Colts make a playoffs, I think, this year. I think this Colts team, in my predictions, I didn't have them making it, but I was shocked, honestly, that they didn't because the Titans came out of nowhere. But, yeah, the Colts now got Matt Ryan, quarterback carousel going all around. But hopefully Matt Ryan can bring this team to the playoffs, and I think he should be able to. Schedule's a little bit tough. But anyway, 16, we got Ryan Tannehill, who really, very much the definition of a decent quarterback here. A lot of people before the playoffs were saying he's good. Now a lot of people are saying he's on that average, I would say. Worse than a Jalen Hurt or something, but very much a decent quarterback. He just needs to get some of these interceptions under control and just be game manager. That's really all the Titans need from him, game manager, and they can be a good team. Obviously, Titans, that's all they needed from last year. They're going to a rebuild, it seems like, thinking more towards the future. But, yeah, Ryan Tannehill, hopefully he'll be able to lead his team. According to my predictions, I do think he's gonna. I don't think the Titans are the top 7 team in the AFC. But, yeah, apparently they're gonna make it. So, number 15, finishing off this decent tier, we got Jameis Winston. Now, Jameis Winston is going to be interesting. He could definitely, because of that injury, be a much worse quarterback than this. But definitely played decent. Actually, pretty good. Good in the good tier. He played like a good quarterback. But unfortunately, the injury leaves me some concerns, so I bumped him down to the decent tier. But with the Saints, man, Saints are definitely one of the definitely I think are a top 7 team in the NFC. I can't remember honestly if they made the playoffs. I think they made the 7th seed. So they did make the playoffs barely in my predictions. So yeah, that's where I think Jameis is. I think he's the best of the decent quarterbacks, and I think he's going to have a pretty good year here, even with that injury to have a good year. So he's a top 15 quarterback, in my opinion. Anyway, we're getting into the good tier. 14, we got Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins worth a lot of money, but he's a good quarterback. I don't think I don't know why people argue against it. He gets a lot of hate, but he's just a good quarterback. You know, he's been in the league for quite some time. He knows what he's doing. Um, takes care of the football. And just really just does what the Vikings want him to do. Now the Vikings, I think, have a bad roster this year, and I don't think they're gonna do good this year. But Kirk Cousins is definitely a good quarterback, and definitely next year if he gets brought into a team that has a lot of pieces around him, and yeah, that's really what I'm talking about. This good tier. If you have all the pieces around you, you are a contender for sure with a good quarterback. You are definitely a contender. But the I could definitely see one of these quarterbacks winning the Super Bowl with the pieces. But yeah, that's Kirk right there. Number 13, we got Dak Prescott. Now, Dak Prescott obviously hasn't had a good playoff career there in Dallas, but definitely a good quarterback. He's not an athletic, not an elite guy, but definitely a quarterback that brought in and just gets the job done. I guess, in the regular season at least, with his pieces around him, gets the job done. And that's all you need from Dak Prescott, I think. That's all you should expect from me. You shouldn't expect elite quarterback like some of the people were saying he was at the beginning of the year. He's just a good quarterback. And it's a quarterback that I think can win a Super Bowl if you could build around him. And then number 12, Derek Carr. Derek Carr definitely has that Raiders team's very interesting. They're in a tough conference. Derek Carr, man, I could definitely see the Raiders. I don't think they will, but I could see them breaking out this year and being a contender. Derek Carr is good enough for that to lead his team and his team be good enough around him for him to, play great football. His team could probably elevate him this year with Devontae Adams and their good defense. It's going to be interesting to see Derek Carr. That Raiders seems very interesting this year. But yeah, that's where the Raiders are. And I mean, the Carr is at 12. So now we are getting into great quarterbacks. Almost to elite, but great we are into. That's going to start out with number 11. And that's going to be Kyler Murray. And this is the quarterback that barely misses out in the top 10. Kyler Murray, he hasn't proven really anything to me quite yet. Made the playoffs last year, but without DeAndre Hopkins, very much struggled in his absence. So, sounding like that, sounds like a good quarterback, but he has a lot of athletic traits. He's young, little bit stubborn, I'll be honest, but just really weird what's happened this offseason. But Kyler Murray, he's a great quarterback. But I have some concerns for him. Like, when is he going to be able to flip the script and be able to win? Because the Cardinals need it. They are the longest drought team to win a Super Bowl, I believe, right? So yeah, that's the Cardinals at 11. Number 10, I got Matthew Stafford, the Super Bowl champion, being a top 10 quarterback here. And it's a prime example. Great quarterback. Everything was around him this previous year for Stafford to win a Super Bowl, and it worked. And yeah, I think that Matthew Stafford is going to be a player that, can maybe do it again there in LA. I don't think it's going to happen because I think this team degressed, especially their defense. and it's really hard to win a Super Bowl 2 times in a row. But really went all in for Matthew Stafford, and it worked, so you can't complain with that. If your team's ready to go all in, you should, because it worked out for the Rams. Moving on to number 9, we got Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson's very an interesting case here because obviously he hasn't played in like 2 years. I don't know what to think of Deshaun Watson. I think this is what I'm going to expect from him. Very much could be a lower quarterback than this, and just because he hasn't played in a while, just be bad. Or he could be the elite quarterback we knew him from Houston. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. I guess we'll see what happens with Deshaun Watson. But this is what I think. He's going to struggle to start, but ultimately be the 9th best quarterback in the league. I think that his absence is going to be a reason why he's not going to be as good. But, yeah, that's Deshaun Watson, man. He's just such a good quarterback when he was actually playing. So hopefully he does good for the Browns. They need it because they are not a good franchise. But number 8, we got the Justin Herbert. I don't think he's an elite quarterback because I really don't believe that, he hasn't proven anything yet. He hasn't proven anything like these elite quarterbacks have. But I think Justin Herbert can. He can definitely prove that. He's got everything around him. This team is very good on paper. I picked them not to make the playoffs, though, so I think this team comes up short. This is a very good AFC, man. But, yeah, Justin Herbert, number 8, very young quarterback, going to be elite. I can almost guarantee you he's going to be an elite quarterback, just not yet. And then number 7, we got Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson, not as good of a passer, very good runner. And that, I think, is why he's not going to be an elite guy. But he's going to be he's definitely a great quarterback. And that Ravens team's lucky to have him. They're building around him right now. I think this team barely misses out on the playoffs. But Lamar Jackson, he's a great quarterback for sure. And now we're into elite territory here. Quarterbacks that have proven everything, and you really don't need a lot to go around them. You need stuff, but you don't need too much. These quarterbacks elevate your team even more than great quarterbacks. All those great quarterbacks elevate their team. Good quarterbacks somewhat elevate their team. Elite quarterbacks always elevate their team. So here's Tom Brady. Of course, he's in this elite tier. He's done so much. But Father Time's got to catch up, and, it's got to be this year. He had everything last year, probably has everything this year. But, yeah, he's not going to be a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion, this year. I don't even think he was last year. But, yeah, that's Tom Brady. Well, yeah, he was a top 5 quarterback last year. Let me take that back. But I don't think he's going to be this year. In the playoffs, no, that's another story. We'll see what happens with the Buccaneers in the playoffs. But number 5, I actually got Joe Burrow as a top 5 quarterback. Now, he proved a lot to me. For him to come in his second year and bring his team to the Super Bowl, it's just unbelievable. What a season for Joe Burrow. Now, do I think he's going to replicate that year? Probably not, but he doesn't need to. He proved a lot last year, and he doesn't need to have another great year to be an elite quarterback. I think he's already proven that to me. He was excellent. He's got that swagger for this team. He elevates his team a ton, and that's where I got him. Number 4, we got Russell Wilson from the Broncos, who traded away. Obviously, we know the trade from Seattle. Russell Wilson obviously finished off the year. A lot of people probably are going to be frustrated with this, but Russell Wilson finished off the year I think he is the fourth best quarterback in the league. He finished off the year bad. Well, in the middle of the year bad because of his injuries and stuff. And I think,